Thank you. Thank very much. I would like to give my deep thanks to the organizing committee for giving me such a great opportunity. I'm very honored to be here. The topics is carbon neutral as a strategy responding to climate change. I think the terminology here, carbon neutrality and the climate change, are very common concept everyone knows. So no. How can I? Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, my slide does not work.
You can just drag it down.
I can get, however, I cannot get the next page.
You have the access to present your presentation, to share your presentation.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I am from Jeju Island, South Korea. Jeju Island is between South Korea and Japan. This is the outline I would like to present. The first one, we have some debate on climate change, and we need to review the concept and the implication of carbon neutrality. And at the global level, we have to review the practice of carbon neutrality strategy, particularly by United Nations. Then, based on that, I would like to conclude about the carbon neutrality as a strategy responding to climate change. Okay, so the first session, there's some debate. I carve 5 sectors. However, the time which is given to me is only 20 minutes, so I would like just summarize the main contents. Okay, first one, definition of climate change. This is very debatable among scholars. What's the climate change? So in order to define the climate change, the definition starts from the concept of weather. I mean the difference between weather and climate. Weather is just the state of atmosphere at a given time and place. Yeah. However, climate is a long-term prevalent weather conditions. In academic areas, at least 10 years, okay? So the difference in weather between 10 years, that we can say climate change. However, just the difference between a week or 1 or 2 days, that is not climate change. This is weather change. Okay, therefore, climate change is defined as the change in average weather conditions and or in the distribution of weather event in a region during at least the past 10 years, empirically, usually 30 years. All right. Then this is another important debate on climate change among scholars. That is, climate change is really a reality. Then there are 2 groups of scholars. The one group is the temperature rise, sea level rise, such a global warming observed and measured scientifically. Therefore, current climate change is a real reality. We call this mainstream. However, some scholars, about 3%, we call them anti-mainstream. They argue global warming, about the temperature rise, sea level rise. Those are uncertain. They are a result from uncertainty of climate science, not perfectly scientific analysis or measurement. But most of us are on the side of mainstream. Another argument, debate among scholars is the cause of climate change. All right, some scholars they argue natural factor. Okay, then other groups they argue human-induced factor, particularly United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. As we know, the UNFCCC has defined the human-induced factor of climate change, 6 global warming substances, CO2, CH4, or like that. So we can say 2 groups of scholars. One is natural factor, the other one is human-induced factor, all right? Then this is the emission of human-induced greenhouse gas figure. I would like to explain this one. Then, United Nations official point of view on climate change. The cause, United Nations opinion is 20% from natural factor, 80% from human-induced factor, global warming material. Okay, then among the human-induced factor, okay, 6 global warming materials, the impact of greenhouse gas by substance is different by emission per unit and the total quantity being emitted. So United Nations point of view is, the scholars, some scholars argue out of the 6 greenhouse gases, the impact of CO2 occupies 66%. Some scholars, 98%. If 98% is true, then the other 5 greenhouse gases, their impact is 2% only in total. However, United Nations, 80%. Then the responsibility, as we know, the emission of human-induced greenhouse gas started to be accumulated since 18th century, when we started advancing industrialization for 300 years from the 18th century. So the responsibility, most developed countries, 70% developed or developing country, 30%. This is United Nations official point of view on climate change. All right. Now, then United Nations, the impact on nature, the example of those change in habitat of land and loss of decreasing biodiversity. So the change in the original status of nature, this is we call crisis of nature. However, the crisis of nature does not end as it is. It is linked to the crisis of human existence, because nature can exist without the humans. However, humans cannot survive without nature. This is why we have to solve the climate change, not only for nature, but also for we human existence. Okay, then the impact on society, the categories: water supply, human health, population, land use, food production, economic structure, development, so many sectors. Then I would like to explain what's the carbon neutrality that should be compared to the other terminologies, such as low carbon and carbon-free climate neutrality. Okay, so low carbon, neutrality, carbon-free, those three are very complicated concepts. However, in summary, low carbon is just reduce the current emission of carbon by 10% or 20%, like that, below 20%. However, there is no scientific criterion why 20%, why 10%. Just what we can get is if we reduce the current carbon emission by some percent, then the effectiveness on climate change is like that. Climate change continues. For example, if we reduce 10% of carbon emission, climate change will continue. However, its acceleration will be reduced. This is the effectiveness of low carbon. Then carbon neutrality. This is removing as much carbon from the atmosphere as we put in. That means achieving net zero carbon emission. Saying in other words, we can, it is inevitable for us, we have to emit the carbon in the process of our human life. However, if we remove as much as we emit, then no more carbon will be put into the atmosphere. Then the effectiveness of carbon neutrality on climate change is climate change will continue, but does not get more serious because we remove as much as we emit. Then net zero carbon emission. Then carbon-free, remove more than we emit. This is very, very ideal. Then the carbon zero or carbon free, the effectiveness is climate change will gradually reduce because we remove more than we emit. Then move us toward climate neutrality. Then climate neutrality is no change to atmosphere, zero ton, through low carbon, carbon neutrality, and the carbon zero. The state of climate before industrialization in the 18th century. So according to IPCC, then if it will take about 100 years to reach climate neutrality from the year we start carbon reducing 10% of CO2 emission. This is about 4 billion tons at the global level. So this is the concept and implications of three similar, however, different terminologies. Then, in order to achieve the carbon neutral society, United Nations has adopted some practice. So, we can distinguish three stages from this is the year when Kyoto Protocol was adopted in 1997. From this year to 2012, this is United Nations strategy was low carbon, just reduce some percent. Then the result was, even though we adopted the reducing carbon emission, I mean the low carbon strategy. However, the total emission increased every year. That means low carbon strategy just was effective on making the carbon emission every year gradually a little bit reduced. However, the absolute total emission increased. Therefore, from 2013, United Nations tried to adopt new strategies on carbon emission. This is called post-Kyoto Protocol. So for 2 years, they had the meeting for negotiation for new strategy. However, not successful. So just negotiation. Then, as we know, Paris Agreement, which was adopted by UNFCCC in 2015. This from 2015, the United Nations adopted carbon neutrality. Okay, then this is the outlines, the low carbon strategy. Then United Nations categorized all the countries into 3 groups: Annex 1, non-Annex 1, Annex 2. Annex 1, most developed. They had the compulsory reduction. Non-Annex 1 developed or developing country just recommended to reduce, but not compulsory. Annex 2, less developed countries, they are sacrifice from the Annex 1 country. Therefore, United Nations gave a benefit of free financial technology transfer from Annex 1 country. Okay, this is category. And the goal was by 2012, the different allocation by Annex 1 country. On average, 5.2% reduction compared to 1990 emission, and adopted 3 policies for Annex 1 country: joint implementation, CDM, and emission trading schemes. Okay, then for 2 years, the negotiation was not successful for establishing a new strategy. Therefore, then 2015, the United Nations adopted the Paris Agreement. So we call this one new climate regime, then adopted the carbon neutrality. This is a comparison between Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. This is for low carbon. This is for carbon neutrality. So the adaptation in the target country goal and major contents. This is comparison between 2. Then the approach is in order to achieve the carbon neutral society. Then 3 categories. One is nature-based approach. Second one is technology-based approach. Third one is socio-economic system approach. All right. Then nature-based approach. This means, for example, planting tree, while expanding grassland, expanding green space in urban area, expanding blue carbon, like that. This means we observe the carbon emitted by human activities on the basis of the profiles of nature. So we call such a strategy nature-based approach. However, technology-based approach, this is on the basis of developing advanced technology. For example, using a technology, we can improve energy efficient and carbon capture, carbon storage, carbon sequestration, carbon utilization. Then we can approach it to carbon neutral society using those technologies. Then those technologies can be applied to land use, transportation, green space, like that. So we call such approach technology-based approach. However, the socio-economic system approach, I would like to skip this one here. All right, this box is the current state of climate change. Okay, for example, temperature rising or loss of biodiversity, like that. Then, why we had loss of biodiversity? This is a result from driving force. So driving force is the cause. This means how to run our societal system, including industrialization, urbanization, consumerism, globalization, according to running such a societal system. This will determine the current state of climate change. Therefore, socio-economic system approach has two categories. One is applicable to the current state of climate change. If we apply the strategy to this box, then we can improve over the current state of climate change, all right? Then, if we apply a strategy to societal system, then the strategy has a function, reducing driving force. So if driving force is reduced, it will be automatically linked to less climate change. Those, such is socio-economic system approach. Okay, then the socio-economic system approach is a transition to a new societal system with low emission. For example, economic area. Economy is maximizing the profit and less ecological cost in the process of producing or distributing the goods and services. As we know, lot of wide range of pollution are emitted, and they are returned to nature. Then the environment, the nature will be polluted and destructed. This is ecological cost. Therefore, transition to a new societal system means in economic area, we can try to maximize profit. However, we have to try less ecological cost. All right. Then, in everyday life, or in social sector, all citizens must producing material affluence, convenience in life. In the way to save energy and the resource, this will be environmental friendly lifestyle, and also culturally, we call cultural ethos. Consumerism should be transferred to environmentalism. For example, consumerism is we consume much more than we need. This is our cultural ethos. So consumerism induce the more production. Then the production will be linked to the pollution and the destruction of nature, because all materials for improving material affluence, we have to extract resources from nature. So such a cultural ethos should be transferred to environmentalism. So environmentalism, we consume as much as we need. Consumerism, much more than we need. Okay, then we can get a new societal culture. All right. Then based on such a finding, then I would like to conclude remarks in terms of three dimensions. One is carrying capacity of we need to consider carrying capacity of Earth. The other one is implication of industrialization and capacity building. So the carrying capacity of Earth is a limited space, like a bus or a boat has limited number of passengers. So the definition of carrying capacity of Earth has two aspects. One is the capacity to provide humans with resources, and the capacity to observe wastes discharged by humans. Based on this, the World Resource Institute has analyzed the carrying capacity of Earth. The research has been conducted in 2000. So at the global level, the carrying capacity of Earth was exceeded by 2.5 times in 2000. This means, for example, we have a boat. The carrying capacity, the limited carrying capacity is 100 passengers. In such a boat, there are 250. Then, using those methodology, I have analyzed the South Korean carrying capacity, then exceeded by 9.5 times in 2003. Okay. All right, this is how to solve the excess of carrying capacity. I would like to skip this one. Then, important thing is we need to review the implication of industrialization. Okay, in 18th century, industrialization increases in material affluence and convenience in life. In order to improve material affluence and convenience in life, we are required to extract natural resources more and more. Then this also discharges wastes more and more as proportionally as extraction of resource. Then nature resulted in excess of carrying capacity. This is linked to crisis of nature. Then, as I have explained before, crisis of nature does not end as it is. This is linked to crisis of human existence on the earth. In this sense, then, humans, I think, are beneficiaries and victims of industrialization. Okay, beneficiary, we improved, the material affluence, convenience in everyday life. Victim means through industrialization, we had crisis of nature. We cannot, nature can exist without the humans. However, humans cannot survive without nature. This means industrialization has two phases. One is gave beneficial to humans. The other is we humans became a victim of industrialization. So having committed self-contradiction, then all strategies responding to the crisis of nature activities for solving self-contradiction. In a sense, this is funny or stupid action. Because if we do not destroy, I do not destroy my house, I don't need to repair it, all right? Then the capacity building means national or local government establish a very wide range of strategies against climate change, even all categories of environmental programs. So without money, we cannot do anything. Therefore, we need to increase the financial capacity. Also, many strategies requires highly advanced technology. Therefore, without the development of advanced technology, we cannot practice, we cannot launch the ideal strategies. Therefore, we need to build our capacity, at least in terms of finance and technology, which are required for responding to climate change. And the other side is we need to establish cooperative network with enterprises, civil organizations, even mass media and citizens. Without the agreement among those social groups, government policy is not good enough because without social consensus, government cannot do anything. So the drawing social consensus among social organizations, this is also a category of carrying capacity. And also, we need to establish cooperative network with foreign countries, information exchange or collaborative activities like that. All right. So this is my final conclusion. You can see here two pictures. This is Titanic being sunk into the sea. This is Noah's Ark in the Christian Bible. All right. Then we enjoyed a small, poor and a small large ark in agricultural society. However, in industrial society, we are enjoying luxury Titanic. Then what happened to Titanic to be sunk totally into the sea? So if we continue enjoying Titanic, I think our near future in everyday life, we have to, at the moment, we have to buy drinking water. However, we do not wear masks. This is not masks. This mask is not against COVID-19. This is a mask against the polluted air, polluted atmosphere. So we have to wear those masks, all right? And I think we humans, we are deserved as much as we have done. So we, however, dog is innocent. Dog should wear masks because they are living with humans. Thank you very much for your kind attention.